So we saw with our own eyes, I think she did pretty well against him. I think she won that comfortably, but it didn't seem to be reflected in some of the focus groups that came out after, and certainly the polling doesn't seem to have given that big bounce. I think when you say she's run a flawless campaign, it's because
a mistake-free one, I guess, is a better way.
Yeah, it's mistake-free, but it's because she's not giving those opportunities to go mistake-free. She's given hardly any interviews thus far. She kind of very rarely, I don't think she's done a press conference as far as I can recall. Whereas Trump almost kind of invites it on himself, where he does so many, and J.D. Vance has been on TV constantly, and he does a lot of press conferences as well, that it's a kind of double-edged sword. So Kamala is not giving herself the opportunity to make mistakes, but at the same time, it kind of cuts off access to who she is.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with Managing Editor Chris Irvine.
Hey.
Chris, polls did not seem to show much of a post-debate bump for Vice President Kamala Harris. She's statistically tied with Donald Trump in a bunch of battleground states in recent polls, including in Pennsylvania, and all signs are kind of pointing to Pennsylvania being the key here, right?
Yeah, increasingly. I mean, I think we've always known that Pennsylvania was going to be one of the most important states, but it really does seem to be kind of coming into full view now that that's going to be the state ultimately that could well decide the election, and within that several thousand votes. We saw some polling that came out from the New York Times Siena poll, which is generally kind of respected as one of the better polls out there, which showed that Harris has a 4-point lead on Trump. But at the same time, it said that they were tied nationally. And then the Washington Post came out with a poll on the same day that said they were tied in Pennsylvania. And that's confusing in itself. And polls will always show something different, obviously. But then there's reporting on the ground. And if you take into reporting from our own Selena Zito, who basically kind of crisscrosses Pennsylvania the whole time, feels to be that there's Kamala's still got a lot of work to do there if she's going to win it. And I would imagine as well there's still a certain resentment that they turfed out one of their own to replace her on the ticket. It's certainly not locked up, and I guess I don't think we'll know the answer until election night, really.
Do we see Donald Trump investing time and campaign money in Pennsylvania in a way that shows his campaign kind of gets how important Pennsylvania is? I mean, do you see a strategy to the way he's campaigning?
Yeah, it's interesting. We had a discussion about this morning, and this is off the back of Trump being in New York City. He and Long Island. Sorry, he went and did a thing at a crypto cafe, and then moved on to this rally in Long Island. And I was thinking, why is he kind of going after New York? Because it's a blue state. I think the Republicans have always flirted with the idea, certainly in the last few years, that they can chip away and maybe even turn New York red. And I found that kind of a slightly strange strategy. I sort of understand the crypto bit of it, because he's obviously made a play for that industry. But then the Long Island rally, maybe it's to help House Republicans, but I would have thought that Trump would want to purely focus on these crucial swing states. Now, he's obviously been in Pennsylvania a lot, and Trump is somewhat kind of omnipresent he's never off your TV, he's never not posting on Truth Social, so he is everywhere, and he has paid a lot of lip service to those states in the past. Maybe but yeah, there just seemed to be a kind of strange lack of focus from his campaign, and for his sake, hopefully it doesn't cost him.
Kamala Harris, as we kind of have covered, is in this virtually tied race right now. She doesn't have a lot more opportunities to rise in the polls, right? Whereas you mentioned Donald Trump's kind of scattershot right now. If he were to get on message and start campaigning where he needs to, he has some opportunities for growth. But she's run a fairly flawless campaign so far and still isn't budging. I mean, where is her opportunity to rise?
Well, it's a great question. I don't know if she does have many more opportunities, if any. The debate, I think, we saw with our own eyes. I think she did pretty well against him. I think she won that comfortably, but it didn't seem to be reflected in some of the focus groups that came out after, and certainly the polling doesn't seem to have given that big bounce. I think when you say she's run a flawless campaign, it's because
a mistake-free one, I guess, is a better way.
Yeah, it's mistake-free, but it's because she's not giving those opportunities to go mistake-free. She's given hardly any interviews thus far. She kind of very rarely. I don't think she's done a press conference, as far as I can recall. Whereas Trump almost kind of invites it on himself, where he does so many, and J.D. Vance has been on TV constantly, and he does a lot of press conferences as well, that it's a kind of double-edged sword. So Kamala is not giving herself the opportunity to make mistakes, but at the same time, it kind of cuts off access to who she is. And ultimately, you're sort of relying on, okay, she may be doing the odd TikTok here and there, maybe for Gen Z or whatever. But I think we're also, at that stage now. I'd be hugely surprised if people hadn't made up their mind by now. It seems very baked in that they'll both get 200 something in the Electoral College, and that's why we go back to talking about Pennsylvania and a couple of other states that North Carolina and Georgia are ones that come to mind. That okay, and even within then, it's only going to be a matter of a few thousand votes. So I don't know if Kamala really kind of has many more opportunities. They don't seem to want to do another debate. She certainly has shown no indication that she's going to go on a freewheeling interview spree. So I guess this is the Kamala that we've got. And if you like that, then good for you. But, what else are you going to get? Take it or leave it. Right, exactly.
Well, Chris, thanks so much for being here today.
Yeah.
You can get more reporting from Chris and the rest of the political team at washingtonexaminer.com.